Hello everyone, how are you? Get the music to play. All right. Okay, so I wanted to make a video about automatic writing because every time somebody comes to get a reading, they ask me a lot about it. And anytime someone comes to get, a channeled, trans channel reading, they also ask. And for those of you who do not know what automatic writing is, it is basically taking messages and putting it onto paper rather than saying it or using cards or doing the tarot, whatever it is. It's just another form of bringing through messages from consciousness and energy. And the way I explain this is it basically feels like energy and frequency is coming through you and you just put words to it. So it doesn't matter if I'm writing it or if I'm in a trance channel, it is a similar feeling. You take the energy, you take the frequency, and you just place words on those feelings, on those experiences, that impression, that intuitive piece inside of you. And trusting what comes through, that it's not just made up, and then putting it onto paper. So a lot of times people overthink it. They think too hard. And really anybody can do this with practice and intention. Your intention is the biggest piece of any spiritual work. If you're doing healings, readings, whatever, it doesn't matter. You want to have the right intention behind what you're doing, and that's going to shape up the belief behind what you're doing, and that's going to assist your connection, that's going to assist your confidence in your connection, that's going to assist you to bring through the messages that are coming through to be delivered. A lot of times I've seen, even with myself in the beginning, I was practicing a mediumship, which is, it's the same type of thing. We held hands with the people and we were supposed to connect with the energy and invite in the consciousness of anybody who had passed on in that person's family to bring through messages. And our minds get in the way of the messages. So what happened was, because I was practicing and I wasn't, I just said what came in and it happened to be correct. So I got a name and I gave the name and the guy knew who it was. And then I got a really bad pain in my chest, which was also correct because it was connected to a heart attack that the person had passed away. And then I saw pencils rolling on a desk. And so the guy was a teacher. So these three things, when they came through, had no connection to me. They didn't make sense at all. I felt crazy talking about just seeing pencils rolling on the table, but all those things made sense to him. So it is getting your mind out of the way and allowing what comes through to come through. It gets more complicated when it's for yourself though. So I find that doing automatic writing for other people is a lot easier than trusting for self, because when we are connecting for ourselves to bring through a message, a lot of times we feel like we're making it up, or we're, trying to assist us, or better it for ourselves. We don't let ourselves get out of the way enough when doing it for ourselves. So if you want to do automatic writing and you want to see if you're actually doing a good job, the best way is to work with another person and then see what messages come through and if it makes sense for that person. I've never had anything come through that didn't make sense for somebody. Sometimes it doesn't make sense immediately. Sometimes it'll be a couple days later. I've never had anybody walk away like, oh my God, that was horrible, that didn't make any sense. But I've also had people message me days later or years later even and be like, oh my God, that was right. So don't allow anything to hold you back. Like if you do a reading for somebody and something doesn't make sense, don't get nervous or upset about that, because it could make sense. They just aren't understanding it the way you're saying it. Because I've had that happen a lot too. When you bring through messages for people, sometimes the way you say things doesn't resonate for them. So you need to just go back in and connect again and ask to word it in a way that they would understand. And then usually they have that aha moment. And those tend to be the only times that it's like later on it will make sense as well. So you can work with those types of things. You have to remember too, the people that you write for, they are also in their way, in their mind, and sometimes messages that come through for people, they're not ready to hear. So don't ever let anything discourage you from continuing on and doing this. Basically, if you've ever written anything, like a poem or anything like that, it's similar to that feeling, because you're bringing in creative energy and it gets to a point where it just flows. So for me, when I started doing automatic writing, it would take a lot, it would be a long time before you got a few words. And then over time, it starts to come out a little bit easier and a little bit easier and a little bit easier and faster and faster. And so now I'm at the point where someone can sit down in front of me, I zip up, do my thing, and boom, 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 boom. It's like I can get 6 or 7, sometimes 8 or 10 pages out for people rather quickly. 8 or 10 are usually about an hour. But I do readings at fairs now, and one person after another in 20 minutes they get a couple of pages of paper, and that's a lot faster than it used to be. So take your time in the beginning. Don't expect to write a novel. Don't expect it to come flowing out of you very quickly. As you get used to who you're communicating with, and as you get used to what words fit what energy and frequency, it gets easier. So for me, I also have a trigger that I know when they're here. They always give me the same cue, and I always connect through the Pleiadian emissaries of light. I'm open to connecting with others, and sometimes I've had people sit down and ask me for a specific message from a different consciousness, which is I can do, but I always bring in the energy of the Pleiadians because they were the first ones that I communicated with and connected with. They have always been there. There's always been a connection with them. I've always been doing this. I wasn't aware of this until I was older. I have notebooks upon notebooks upon notebooks of me writing poetry, letters, just words that make no sense at the time, but when I go back and I read them now, it's like, oh my God, I get it now. I didn't get it then. I thought I just had an addiction to notebooks and to writing, but it's still a form. Even drawing, when I draw, it has changed over the years. It used to be not that good, and then I noticed once I started doing this type of work, the drawings got better, and now they look really nice, but I also received a message that they hold energy and frequency in them, so whoever looks at them gets that. Which I will be posting them on my website soon. I took them off my old website and I haven't put them on the new one, but each one of them holds something inside of them that works with people. So I should probably sit down and channel out what those are and put those descriptions with the pictures. But again, anytime you're being creative, anytime you're painting or drawing, it's a channeling type of energy. So think of that and allow yourself to relax. What I always do is set sacred space. And it can be as simple as burning Palo Santo. When I burn Palo Santo, I don't know if you know what Palo Santo is. I like this much better than sage. Sage and Palo Santo are very similar in what they do. Sage just smells a little bit harsher, and I am obsessed with Palo Santo. So basically you just start it, you get it to burn. They don't stay burning, so they're safe. Some people get a shell to hold them in or whatever. It doesn't matter. And they're actually pretty cheap. There's some on my website. You can get like 20 of them. You can get like a package of 20 of them for not too much. I think they're like under $10. And when I go to fairs, sometimes people will have like the really, really big stick for $1. but I always have Palo Santo, and it's inexpensive. It smells awesome. Everybody loves it. Like my dad, whenever I do it near him, he goes to sleep. And I haven't really met anybody who doesn't like it. Well, my sister's boyfriend came over on Thanksgiving and his eyes were burning, so I'm like, I don't know what that. But anyway, it clears negative space and it will help you set sacred space. So I always get the Palo Santo out. The way I do this with the Mune Key or other practices, like if you want to open like a room in your house, like my room's already been done, I've already done this, but you would start in the south and then the west, then the north, and then the east, and then you connect to Mother Earth, and then you connect to the Great Spirit, and you just ask for sacred space to be open. There's a prayer as well. I will probably add that at some point to my website, or maybe I'll put it in the comment section. But there's a prayer for opening sacred space. You don't need it. You can just use your intention and say, I'm opening sacred space. But Palo Santo is a great way to do so. I even have it in spray form. So when I'm like at a fair, what I will do is just spray it. And you can get essential oil, Palo Santo, and mix it and make a spray, or they probably have them available as well. So that is how I open sacred space and cleanse everything, get rid of any energy. If there was somebody here with me who was getting a reading, I would include them into that. Then you want to take a few minutes to center yourself. I always go into prayer position. This is what I learned when I did Reiki and all that, so it's like an instant boom. In the new paradigm, we learn to open a vortex. And so that is also part of my process. And it's a good way for you to kind of ground your energy. It's a good way for you to connect up to whomever you want to connect with to bring through your message. And it's also good to have a person with you in front of you that you're opening this vortex with, so that your energies can get together, so you can deliver messages to them. Oh, I almost forgot. So what I also always have when I'm doing this, I knew I was forgetting something, is labradorite. Any type of crystals will assist you with this work. For me, it's labradorite. I have to have it with me. Like, I can't not. Tektite is also good. Moldavite is very good. Moldavite oil, I always put on my hands. They have Moldavite incense. I actually have some. Moldavite. This is what Moldavite incense looks like. It smells really good too. So these things help you with your third dimensional connection. Now, I always say that these are just tools. We don't need these tools, but they do assist, and it's kind of like getting you into that mode of what you want to do. My dog's knocking at the door. So, basically, I use these things just to assist me. They are not needed. You could do this without them. I've actually channeled automatic writing in my car recently, and I just brought along amethyst with me. But these things do assist you to get into your energy, to lower yourself down, to create sacred space. It's just added stuff that helps. Moldavite is also from meteorite, so it's got energy from out of this world, and it really does help me when I'm connecting with the beings from out of this world. So if you're looking to connect with like the Pleiadians or the Arcturians or Lyrans, Andromedans, Sirians, Vegans, Avians, whatever, this stuff does really help with doing that. And labradorite is the biggest one for me. So I always try to have a piece with me. And I'm usually always wearing it. I just don't happen to be wearing any right now. Then we open the vortex. And it doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to say what I say down to the last word. Just open the vortex the way that you want to open the vortex. And give yourself enough time to connect. So basically you close your eyes And this is again all intention. So we now open a vortex down to the surface of Gaia, down through all the layers of rock, dirt, down into the crystal caves, and all the way down into the heart center. It is here that we will ask the Great Spirit, Creator, Source, Pleiadian emissaries of light, Arcturian, Lyran, Andromedan, Syrian, Vegan, and Avian consciousness to assist in anchoring this vortex all the way up around us, expanding out, speeding up and pushing out to the surface of the atmosphere, all the way up beyond the stars and moons into the light of Source. It is here that we will ask angels and archangels, ascended ones, multi-dimensional beings, star nations, and all of our relations of divine light to assist in bringing forth divine messages in the form of automatic writing. And this is the point where I know, because I hear them say, "We are here." And that is always the first thing I write. It's "we are here." And then they say who we are, and then they bring through the messages. I'm not going to do this right now because it will take too long and it's probably not fun to watch, but it is really like that every single time. I open that vortex and then I just start writing. And sometimes it comes through for 20 minutes, sometimes it comes through for an hour, sometimes it comes through for longer. What I have found is that when my intention is set on the time, it fits the time. So if I am at a fair and I'm bringing through messages for somebody, and I always ask people too, if they have questions, sometimes it's easier to get answers for questions rather than just pulling something through out of the air. But you can either have people ask questions or you can have them be open to receive. And when they're open to receive, same thing, doesn't matter if your intention's 20 minutes or if it's an hour, seem to bring through the messages that fit in that time. I mean, sometimes I have people ask 3 questions and all 3 questions get answered within the 20-minute span. But if they had sat down for an hour, they would probably get a much more expansive response to their questions, and they would also get more information about other stuff related to those questions. So it depends on what the reading is for, and it depends on the time, what types of messages come through. So in the beginning, I wouldn't get worried about all that. What I would basically focus on is just bringing through anything. And even if you don't have somebody right in front of you to practice on, you could write down a question, or you could ask to bring through a message for somebody you know, maybe your mom or somebody, and then just allow whatever comes through to come through. And you're going to get used to what comes. If you try to connect with the Pleiadian emissaries of light, you do what I just did. Ground the vortex all the way down to Mother Earth. Ask for assistance for it to be anchored up into the light of Source or into the central sun of the Pleiades. It doesn't matter where you go. You can do this with Lyra, you can do this with the Andromeda, you can do this with Arcturus, Sirius, wherever you want to connect. So you would anchor the vortex there. Source always carries anything, so it doesn't matter. Source will bring through all messages from all places, so it might be a catch-all for you. And then you ask to bring down that divine information through the form of automatic writing. You may hear "we are here," you may hear something else. It does not matter what you hear. Start writing it down and building that energy and practicing with that energy, and it will get stronger. So I hope this helps people. I think I covered everything. If there's anything you want to know about more about automatic writing, drop your questions in the comments. And if you'd like to see a video on something else related to this, let me know. I hope you all have a great night. Thank you.